Hello, fellow entrepreneurs. Welcome to my channel where I read and summarize books relating to being a better entrepreneur. I've met no one who I thought was wise who didn't read. I believe reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. So today, we will be learning from Clayton Christensen, James Allworth, and Karen Dillon in their book, How Will You Measure Your Life? So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Clayton M. Christensen, the author, is a business innovation expert. After years of working alongside high achievers and in successful businesses, some of which he founded, he realized that a person's life should be measured by more than time spent at work. Christensen is an able guide for readers looking to achieve the career of their dreams, with insightful, insider examples from his many years in the corporate world. However, as a father and cancer survivor, Christensen can speak from the heart about work-life balance. Christensen teaches today's professionals how to live a life of balance, integrity, and purpose by drawing on his life experiences. This video is broken down into 7 parts. Part 1. When it comes to job satisfaction, motivation takes precedence over money. Part 2. Taking advantage of both expected and unexpected opportunities. Part 3. It's your business to live your life. Manage your resources in order to run it successfully. Part 4. The most important sources of happiness are your relationships with your family and friends. Part 5. Intuition and empathy assist us in fulfilling our responsibility of making our loved ones happy. Part 6. Allow your kids to learn from their mistakes and be praised for good behavior. Part 7. It's a slippery slope to compromise your integrity, so don't do it. Part 1. When it comes to job satisfaction, motivation takes precedence over money. What do you believe would make you more content at work? Perhaps a little more pay or a little more respect from your coworkers? Assumptions like this are fairly common. In fact, the tangible aspects of your job, such as pay and prestige, are not what will make you happy. If you don't believe me, go to a business school reunion and see how personal dissatisfaction, family failures, professional struggles, and even criminal behavior can stem from professional success. Despite this, a negative attitude towards the use of incentives in the workplace persists. The incentive theory, popularized by economist Michael Jensen and management theorist William Meckling, states simply that the more you are paid, the better you perform. This theory appears overly simplistic in light of our business school reunion example. Furthermore, studies have revealed that the hardest working people are those who work for non-governmental organizations, or NGOs. People who do life-changing work for little pay. In fact, it turns out that work that matches your needs and interests is the source of professional satisfaction and motivation. Psychologist Frederick Herzberg proposed that our wants and needs can be divided into 2 categories: hygiene and motivation. His hygiene motivation theory is based on this. General working conditions, company policies, supervisory practices, and job security are all examples of hygiene factors. If these issues aren't addressed or aren't addressed at all, it's a case of poor hygiene, which leads to job dissatisfaction. Would a job with excellent working conditions but no opportunity for advancement or reward be satisfying? Probably not. Instead, job satisfaction is achieved by combining hygiene and motivation factors. Recognition, responsibility, challenges, and personal growth are all motivating factors. Consider a job that was intellectually stimulating but had terrible management. Would you be satisfied in such a position? Certainly not. The importance of combining hygiene and motivation is obvious, and the next part outlines 2 strategies for achieving this balance. Part 2. Taking advantage of both expected and unexpected opportunities. What is your plan for advancing your career? While most people have a general idea of how they want to advance professionally, few are able to articulate how they intend to achieve their objectives. Recognizing that career strategies can take 2 forms, deliberate and emergent, is a good place to start. To comprehend these 2 approaches, we must first consider how opportunities arise in general. Henry Mintzberg, a renowned author and academic, divides opportunities into 2 categories. The first refers to anticipated opportunities, or those that we can see and choose to pursue. Predicted opportunities are frequently the foundation of deliberate strategies. Let's take a look at a 1960s model from the Japanese automaker Honda. Large motorcycles, such as those made by Harley-Davidson, were popular in the United States at the time, so Honda decided to launch its own line of motorcycles there as well. The goal was to gain a foothold in the American market, but Honda's bikes were of such poor quality that they nearly killed the company. This demonstrates that calculated strategies aren't always effective. Everyone can recall a time when, despite their best efforts, nothing went according to plan. This is where an emergent strategy, which takes advantage of unanticipated opportunities, comes into play. These issues frequently arise during the implementation of a deliberate strategy. Honda's emergent strategy in the United States was discovered by chance. The company had also shipped its smaller Super Cub motorcycles for employee use, in addition to its larger motorcycles. Honda employees would ride up and down the hills of Los Angeles, and the public was so taken aback by this unusual sight that demand for the Super Cub skyrocketed. Honda saved its American venture by embracing the emerging strategy of selling its smaller bikes on a larger scale. You'll be able to take advantage of any opportunity if you strike a balance between deliberate and emergent strategies. You'll always find the right path if you're both calculated and flexible. Part 3. It's your business to live your life. Manage your resources in order to run it successfully. When we think of resources, we usually think of those that are related to business, assets, talent, finances, and so on. This understanding, on the other hand, is quite limited. We must first broaden our definition to gain a better understanding of how we should use our resources. Consider what matters to you, such as family ties, fulfilling friendships, and physical health. These aspects of our personal lives are, in some ways, businesses, and the resources we invest in them are our personal time, energy, skills, and wealth. However, just like in business, we have a finite amount of resources. We must manage our priorities, despite the fact that we have many goals we would like to achieve. It's tempting to put all of our efforts into one goal, and for many people, that goal is a career. Nonetheless, it is critical that we devote time and energy to other activities that we value. You can avoid the mistake of investing everything in your career by taking control of your personal resource allocation process. Reconsidering the default criteria by which we typically allocate our time is one way to do this. Rather than automatically devoting all of your time to a work project, consider whether it is truly the most important thing in your life at the moment, or whether there are other priorities, such as your family or your health. Prioritizing immediate gratification over long-term gains is a common blunder made by high-achieving professionals in particular. It's easy to become fixated on a future bonus or promotion. These provide instant gratification, but it is fleeting. Long-term goals, such as the task of properly raising your children, will provide a reward that will last a lifetime and is far more valuable. Part 4. The most important sources of happiness are your relationships with your family and friends. If you are a high achiever, you might believe that the effort you put in at work is the most rewarding aspect of your life. However, the time and effort you put into your family life will pay off handsomely. It's just that they might not show up for a long time. Unfortunately, underinvestment in these longer-term issues will eventually suffocate them. Consistent attention and care are what a relationship requires the most. This can be difficult to provide for a couple reasons. First, we are always tempted to put our resources into a task that will pay off right away, such as our job. After work, a spare 30 minutes could easily be spent with the family. However, the people and projects that demand your attention at work, as well as the prospect of making money, can quickly push thoughts of your family to the back of your mind. Second, those with whom you have a close relationship with, family members and friends, rarely demand your attention the loudest. Instead, they're more likely to unreservedly support your career. But keep in mind that just because they don't ask for your time doesn't mean they don't require it. Relationships are paradoxical in some ways. They necessitate consistent commitment, even when it appears to be unnecessary. Many people appear to believe that by showing more care later on, they can make up for neglecting their loved ones. Damage done to a family in its early stages, on the other hand, will manifest as problems later. According to research, the most influential period in a child's intelligence development is the first year, so how parents speak to their child during this time will shape their life as a thinker. Finally, your family isn't the only one who needs you. You will rely on them at some point. You risk losing support when you need it the most if you ignore these relationships now. Part 5. Intuition and empathy assist us in fulfilling our responsibility of making our loved ones happy. Frequently, Businesses appear to be so intent on selling a product that they lose sight of the customer's true needs. Unfortunately, many people take the same approach to relationships. Your primary responsibility, whether in your family or in your business, should always be to understand and meet the needs of others. This is not a simple task. Intuition and empathy are two tools that can assist you. When each spouse knows what is expected of him or her, the marriage works. However, it takes practice to use empathy and intuition to understand these expectations. For instance, suppose a man returns home from work one day to discover a mess in the kitchen. He makes the intuitive assumption that his wife has had a bad day and decides to clean up. He was expecting to be thanked, but instead finds his wife upset. She tells her husband that caring for two demanding children is extremely difficult because she is unable to communicate with another adult throughout the day. What she really needed was for her husband to pay attention to her. In this case, the husband's initial instincts were incorrect. However, he will learn to be more sensitive to his wife's needs in the future as a result of this experience. Thinking of your relationship as a job is another way to improve it. What job does my family, friend, or partner require me to do the most? Is an important question to consider. IKEA, a Swedish home furnishings company, can serve as an example. Customers want to be able to furnish their homes quickly and affordably. It is then the company's responsibility to effectively meet this need. This is why the company does not specialize in selling a specific type of furniture. Its mission is more broad. IKEA customers remain loyal because their needs are met. The same is true in relationships. If you understand and perform the task that your loved ones expect of you, they will remain loyal to you. Part 6. Allow your kids to learn from their mistakes and be praised for good behavior. One of the most important jobs you have in life is to educate your children. This does not simply imply that they be taught everything there is to know, but rather that they be given the tools to teach themselves. Allowing children to face challenges and find solutions on their own is the best way for them to develop their own values. Learning to work with a difficult teacher, adjusting to a new sport, or navigating cliques or bullies at school are all examples of such challenges. Children's self-esteem will develop in a healthy way if they are exposed to everyday problems early on. You might be hesitant to let your children pursue goals on their own, or you might try to keep them from making mistakes. Don't be afraid to let them fail, though. When children make mistakes, it is far more important for a parent to be present to provide support so that they can grow and learn from them. The establishment of a healthy family culture is also an important aspect of parenthood. Family values are the bedrock of this, an informal but powerful set of guidelines that will prepare your children for any challenge they face, even as adults. It is helpful to think of creating a family culture as an autopilot. It is perfectly capable of running itself once programmed. Assume you want your family to be known for its generosity. You can help program this value by emphasizing its importance at every opportunity. A simple conversation with your child about schoolyard bullying, or praising your child when he demonstrates compassion, could provide such an opportunity. As a result, kindness will be ingrained in your family's culture. It's easy to fall into the mindset that parenting is all about reining in bad behavior. In fact, a perspective that celebrates your family's good in everyday interactions is far more effective than a negative approach. As a result, a set of values will emerge that will be firmly established and capable of withstanding any challenge. Part 7. It's a slippery slope to compromise your integrity, so don't do it. What does it mean to have integrity in your life? It's not just about what we do when confronted with a moral dilemma. Integrity, on the other hand, emerges from decisions we make on a daily basis. Integrity necessitates constant self-awareness in this way. We must stay alert to the dangers of marginal thinking. Blockbuster, a DVD rental company, is an excellent example of this danger. Blockbuster was aware of its competitor Netflix, an innovative online movie rental service, but dismissed it as unthreatening and saw no reason to respond by expanding its business strategy to include DVD rentals by mail. But, while Blockbuster remained silent, Netflix annihilated its rivals to the point where Blockbuster declared bankruptcy in 2010. Blockbuster paid the ultimate price for mismanagement, which was business failure, despite avoiding the marginal costs of matching Netflix's innovative business model. You now know that when it comes to commercial decisions, focusing on marginal costs can be disastrous. When a person's moral behavior is involved, this marginal thinking becomes even more dangerous. In such situations, It is critical that we do not make rash decisions as individuals, regardless of the circumstances. Have you ever made a decision that went against your beliefs, but justified it because it was just this once? Here's an illustration of how dangerous exceptions can be. Nick Leeson was a stock trader whose speculative thinking contributed to Baring's demise as a British merchant bank. He decided to, just this once, hide a loss on some trades he had managed in an unmonitored trading account after incurring a loss on some trades he had managed. As Leeson attempted to cover up his increasingly irresponsible actions, he resorted to forging documents and defrauding auditors, resulting in a $1.3 billion loss. Leeson was arrested and imprisoned, and Barings was sold to a competitor for £1 after declaring bankruptcy. Those who invest their resources not only in their work, but also in their family and lifestyle are the most successful professionals. We can achieve the work-life balance that we desire by taking responsibility for the jobs that are required of us outside of the workplace, such as raising our children, supporting a spouse, or leading our lives with integrity. Only then will we be able to experience true happiness. This wraps up the summary from the book, How Will You Measure Your Life? By Clayton Christensen, James Alworth, and Karen Dillon. Thank you for sticking it out through to the very end of this video. Nothing helps out my channel more than y'all watching the entire video. These videos take a long time to make and is a labor of love. If you would like to contribute by buying me a cup of coffee, I'll leave the link below along with the link to this book. And as always, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe and watch these videos that might pique your interest. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, keep reading.